the energy costs came up in a big way for him and his family, so much that they decided to get solar panels on their home. So you're moving to Dallas-Fort Worth and you think you know what to expect in terms of the cost of living. Well, I picked up the phone and I called a client of mine that found me just like you guys did here on YouTube. And if you stay to the end of the video, I'll tell you the number one expense that he was absolutely not prepared for. It was way higher than he was expecting. Now, I want to teach you all about property taxes first, but we're also going to talk about transportation. We're going to talk about the real estate market and the cost of purchasing a home here in Dallas-Fort Worth as well. So let's get into the property taxes. Now, is it true that Texas has high property taxes? Well, yeah, when we look at Rocket Mortgage, Texas has the 6th highest property taxes in the country at an average of 1.68%. All right, it's already been established that Texas has higher property taxes. I want to get into moving into new construction and how property taxes work there, and also how we challenge or protest our property taxes, and we need to do that every year. So a lot of you that are going to build, and you're going to enter neighborhoods that look just like this. You've got, for instance, a home that you are building and then you close on the home. Now, when you get that mortgage, then you realize, wow, the mortgage payment is only half of what the loan officer told me it would be. Well, that's because the taxing entity, the county that you're in, recognized this home at the time that you moved in as just having land on it. All that being said, your mortgage payment will go up the next year because every year the Central Appraisal District goes out and they see what is on the land. So be prepared for that jump in your mortgage payment for sure if you're buying new construction. Guys, one of the things that really catches people off guard here is when we have an increase in values from one year to the next. So this is when your mortgage company sends you the letter saying that there's a shortage in your escrow account. They give you a couple options. Either you pay a lump sum to fulfill the shortage and keep your mortgage payment the same, or you raise your mortgage payment by whatever the shortage amount is divided by 12 months. Now, before I get into how to protest these property taxes, I want to tell you all how happy we are to be relocating people into Dallas-Fort Worth. We've been doing it for more than 3 years. So many people have reached out to us. They found us just like you have here on YouTube. We set them up with a custom itinerary to tour DFW and then get the process started so we can do the same for you.
TommyWooten.com, woo, woo. TommyWooten.com, woo, woo. TommyWooten.com.
All right, guys, let's get into protesting these property taxes, these exemptions, and how we calculate them. All right, guys, I got a home pulled up in Devonshire. It's a beautiful master plan community in Forney, and it's a mud district. They have a property tax rate of 2.739%. And you should know that a mud district is a development that was put together without the help of the city or the town that they're in. And therefore, the people that live there don't have to pay that city tax or that town tax. Instead, they pay for their own stuff. So there's the tax for that mud district, it's 1%. But on top of that, they pay an emergency service tax. That's for your fire service and what have you. On top of that, every county has their own tax. Every school district has their own tax. And it looks like being in the city of Forney, there is a road and bridge tax. Don't know if that's temporary or if it's permanent. But all that adds up to 2.739%. Here's something to make note of, though. We're talking about a home that is almost 3,000 square feet, has a total estimated value of $465,000, yet they're only being taxed on the assessed value, $236,000. How on earth is that possible? Well, that has to do with the fact that we have tax exemptions. And just a year ago, Texas voted to increase the tax exemption value from $40,000 to $100,000. So the Central Appraisal Districts, every year they go around, they make a guess as to what a house will sell for. That is the true market value. And then based off that, they add on the exemptions. There is a veterans exemption. There are senior citizens exemptions. There are homestead exemptions. Chances are this is a homestead exemption, and there may be some other exemptions as well. So you take off $100,000 and whatever other exemptions go with the property due to the owner being there or what have you, and you get the assessed value. They then apply the assessed value to the property tax rate, which gives you the total property taxes for that house. So what's the deal with these protests? Let's get into that for 1 second, and then we'll move on to transportation. Now, I can't give you legal advice on how to protest your property taxes, but I can tell you, you have a say in the matter for how much your home is worth. You can do a little digging, talk to your local realtor, and figure out how much houses around you are selling for. Even look at some of the deficiencies around your house and say, I don't know if it's as much as the county says it is. You schedule an appointment with your county, and once you get that appointment, you make your case, you throw them out a number, you work with them, bada bing, bada boom. They either accept or counter how much they are assessing for your property, and you end up with your taxable value for that year. All that being said, it has no bearing on the actual market value of your homes. So don't think that just because you have a low assessed value that you won't be able to ask the full market value for your home should you have to put it on the market. Big misconception. Guys, would you believe after looking at all that Texas still has the 6th lowest tax burden for the whole country? This includes sales taxes, property taxes, and income taxes, which we don't have. So what does that mean if you're moving from, let's just say, New York? That's a 7.3% difference in tax burden. What if you and your spouse make a household combined income of $100,000, $7,300 back in your pocket? What if you're moving from California? There's a 4.9% difference in tax burden. That's $4,900 back in your pocket. What if you're moving from Illinois? 4.3% difference. What if you're moving from Washington State? I got a lot of clients that moved here from Seattle. We're talking about a 2.1% difference in tax burden. That's $2,100 a year back in your pocket. Guys, all that stuff is very taxing. No pun intended. Actually, that's definitely a pun intended. Look, if you appreciate the content, please leave the video a like. It'll really help out the channel. Let's talk about these Dallas, Texas roads. We got highways like nobody's business. Let's get to it now, and after that, we'll talk about some of the real estate markets within Dallas-Fort Worth. Guys, this isn't gonna take so long. Gas in Texas is some of the lowest in the country when we look at AAA. Our gas prices on average right now are $2.93 a gallon for regular gas. You can see what's going on here on the West Coast, and you can see what's going on in the East Coast and down in Florida. The other expense that you need to know about is tollways. When you move to Dallas-Fort Worth, you're gonna need a car more than likely. If you're watching this channel, chances are you're going to buy a house in one of our more popular suburbs, and the suburbs don't have public transportation. You're going to absolutely need a car. Now, the tollways don't go all over Dallas-Fort Worth. They include this line right here going north and south, which is the Dallas North Tollway. We just call it the tollway. Another main one is 121, this diagonal line that goes from McKinney to Irving, which is where DFW Airport is. Here you go. You can see it right there. This super curvy one, it might be longer than the tollway. This is the President George Bush Turnpike. There's another one, which is the Chisholm Trail Turnpike over here. There's a good chance that you don't move to the Fort Worth side of things, and if you do, you don't have as many tolls, flat out. Now, to save you money, I highly advise that you get a toll tag. Toll tags will help you get around Dallas-Fort Worth for less than if you don't have one. For instance, if you were going to drive from, let's just say, Salina to a Dallas Mavericks game or the Fair Park, something around the downtown area. Salina's way up here, and you had to drive all the way down the tollway. You've got these tolls, and it'll take you 45-50 minutes depending on traffic, and it'll cost you $5.92 each way. That's if you have a toll tag. If you don't have a toll tag, that same drive will cost you $12.80 each way. Now, another example, let's just say you lived up here in Anna and you had to get to DFW Airport. So you got to take 121, or what they call the Sam Rayburn Tollway. I don't call it that. I'm an original here. and it was always 121. It'll cost you $4.22 each way to get from Anna to DFW Airport. And again, it's probably around a 45-minute drive. And you can estimate that if you don't have a toll tag, it'll cost you at least double that each way. So like I say, get a toll tag and save yourself the money when you get here. Overall, Texas ranks 34th for transportation costs, so it's not horrible. All right, guys, let's get into this DFW real estate market. All right, guys, what I want to do is I want to pull up the market trends, but before I do that, I want to show you what the new construction market looks like in Dallas-Fort Worth. Before I do that, I want to encourage you guys to pick up the phone, give us a call, and let us do the heavy lifting for you and your family as you relocate to Dallas-Fort Worth. It's something that we've got a lot of experience with. It's impossible to go through everything here in this video, so let us jump on a one-on-one chat. We'll set up a custom itinerary for you, set up a search for you, and get the ball rolling. Now, a lot of you that are familiar with the channel know that I'm a new construction specialist. I've worked with almost every builder in Dallas-Fort Worth. I've been on realtor advisory boards for a lot of big communities, so I can tell you a lot about new construction. When we look in the Forney area, this is Kaufman County. This is just south of Rockwall, and this is about a 20 to a 30-minute drive to downtown Dallas. Great area, lots of new construction options, and definitely under 400. But we've got a lot of clients that have beautiful homes, paid $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 for their home in wonderful master plan communities with great schools. We've got the Princeton area over here with lots of options under $400,000 as well. Not so many up here, up north. We're talking the Frisco, Prosper, Salina area. We also call it the Victory Corridor. Not a ton under $400,000, if at all. Like, this is a townhome, all right? So we're not talking about single family under $400,000. You guys need to reach out if you want to know the truth about Aubrey. It's not what people say it is online. And here we arrive around Denton, Texas. Denton is essentially a city all to its own. It really has its own suburbs when you look at Sanger and Corinth and Argyle. Once you get a little bit further south, we start talking about the Fort Worth area, and Fort Worth is its own animal. But you should know, yeah, DFW has options under $400,000. For instance, $400,000 to $700,000. Now we start being able to see a lot more options all over Dallas-Fort Worth. When we get into the Victory Corridor, we start seeing more options in Frisco and Prosper and Salina. So really, if you're looking in the 400 to 700 area, you're gonna wanna pick up that phone and talk to me and my team, because you're gonna have so many options, your head is gonna freaking spin. You don't want that, it'll discourage you. You'll always wonder if you made the right decision or not. Let us figure out what lifestyle you're looking for and help you figure out where you're gonna be the most comfortable. Some of you guys are thinking about moving to DFW and getting an acre for yourself. We don't offer that just everywhere, and it's definitely not in all the price points. On top of that, it'll be really important for you to understand that if you've never been to Texas, that might be something you want to save for your second home. We'll keep that in mind when we talk about our philosophy for you and what's going to be best for you. Let's have a look at the real estate trends. When we look MLS-wide, we got to understand that the median sales price in all of Dallas-Fort Worth is just $360,000. And what do you see? It's on the rise. We're getting into the spring, and that number is only going to go up. Have a look at every spring and summer. Every spring and summer. But what that means is these are hot markets. People are trying to get into the school district of choice for their kids because Dallas-Fort Worth is a destination city. Make no mistake about it. Guys, with all that being said, we hadn't even had a chance to get into the rental market, but I will tell you that Dallas ranks for the 20th highest rental market values with average rent of $1,082. What about on the sales side? Texas ranks just 32nd highest in the country with an average square foot of $189. It's pretty affordable by comparison. Now, as I was putting together the content for this video, I picked up the phone and I called a client that found me just like you guys did. And I got to tell you, the energy costs came up in a big way for him and his family, so much that they decided to get solar panels on their home. Now, why is this such a surprise for people that move here? I mean, Texas has an average price of 14.71 cents per kilowatt hour and ranks 26 in terms of average price per kilowatt hour for the whole country. So it's not that high. What on earth is going on? Well, we actually rank 6th for the highest of usage of kilowatt hours. Texas is a state that has extreme temperatures both for the summer and the winter. I mean, it seems like every February now we end up with some sort of freeze and we've got our heating system on 24/7. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, when we're talking late summer going into early fall, we're talking temperatures of 100 and 110, sometimes for 5 or 10 days straight, where we are cooling our houses as much as we can. So hopefully now you can understand why that was such of a shocker. Now, in addition to energy costs, I will say that, for instance, we pay $150 a month in water and trash. That's just for our neighborhood. It could vary. I would assume a lot of places in Dallas-Fort Worth pay much less. But I live in a newer master plan community, and those are our costs. So it is what it is. Now, of course, as you're planning your move to Dallas, you're going to be considering other costs like groceries, childcare, lawn care, and a lot of other services you're going to need to maintain the lifestyle you want. Just know that Texas ranks 27th for the highest cost of living in the United States. Guys, I hope this was beneficial to you. If you're thinking about moving to Dallas, I want you to check out this video.
TommyWooten.com, woo, woo. TommyWooten.com, woo, woo. TommyWooten.com, woo, woo. TommyWooten.com, woo, woo. TommyWooten.com.